Something extraordinary is happening in Britain's Lake District, and it's exposing deep cracks in modern British society. A £2.5 million Islamic Centre project that had all its official approvals in place has suddenly ground to a complete standstill. But here's what makes this story remarkable. The construction hasn't stalled because of funding issues or legal challenges. It's stalled because local British builders and suppliers are refusing to work on it. This quiet rebellion by tradesmen has become one of the most talked about stories in Britain today, revealing much about the country's changing identity and who really holds power in local communities. Make your opinion count by liking this video and promoting it for more awareness. Also, share and subscribe to our channel for upcoming updates. Let's challenge the narrative together. The South Lakes Islamic Centre project received planning permission back in December 2022, after what officials described as a thorough consultation process. The plans showed an ambitious complex that included prayer halls, burial grounds, teaching spaces, and community event facilities. Supporters said it would serve Muslim doctors, professionals, and tourists visiting the Lake District. Objections from local residents were largely dismissed during the approval process, with about 30 formal complaints being overruled by council members, who argued the development would promote diversity in the region. But now, over a year later, the construction site remains eerily quiet. The reason? Local builders and suppliers have been withdrawing their services in what appears to be an unorganized but effective boycott. Concrete deliveries have been cancelled. Stone supplies have refused orders. Electrical and plumbing contractors have suddenly become unavailable. This unexpected resistance from the working-class tradespeople, who would normally be eager for such a large project, has left the developers scrambling. A spokesperson for the Islamic Centre recently admitted in a YouTube update that they've faced unprecedented difficulties securing materials and labour. He acknowledged that some suppliers have made it clear they won't work on the project, though he tried to downplay the significance. "We have managed to find alternative suppliers," he said, but admitted this has caused significant delays to their construction timeline. The situation has become so serious that the organisation has now issued an emergency funding appeal to supporters, warning that they're at a critical juncture, with their current funding only secured until April. What makes this situation so fascinating is that it represents a completely new form of protest in modern Britain. This isn't activists marching with placards or politicians making speeches. This is ordinary working-class tradespeople, the kind who normally keep their heads down and focus on their work, quietly but firmly taking a stand by simply refusing to participate in a project they disapprove of. Their resistance is all the more powerful because it's happening through actions rather than words. The roots of this unusual protest appear to trace back to critical coverage of the project by GB News, which brought national attention to the local opposition. After the reports aired, several suppliers who had initially agreed to work on the project began withdrawing. One quarry owner, speaking anonymously, explained that while he had no personal objection to the Islamic Centre, he couldn't ignore the strong feelings in his local community. He described receiving dozens of calls from neighbours and fellow business owners urging him not to supply materials. This grassroots opposition highlights a growing tension in Britain between official, top-down decision-making and genuine local sentiment. While the project technically followed all the proper planning procedures, many residents felt their concerns about the scale of the development and its impact on the Lake District's character were being ignored. The builders' boycott suggests that formal planning permission doesn't necessarily equal real community acceptance. The situation becomes even more intriguing when contrasted with recent controversies surrounding Britain's political class. Just as working-class builders are sacrificing income to take a principled stand, new revelations show government ministers indulging in extraordinary luxury at taxpayer expense. Foreign Secretary David Lammy has reportedly spent over £1.23 million on private jet travel in just 3 months, including £188,549 for a single flight on an Airbus A321 to India, where he lectured about environmental responsibility. Meanwhile, Labour MP Taiwo Awatami has faced criticism for claiming £900 per year in pet rent to keep her dog in her London home, even as her government pushes through £5 billion in welfare cuts expected to plunge thousands into poverty. Iraq War veteran Hannah Campbell, who lost her leg in service, called the expense claim disgraceful, saying it shows politicians live by different rules than ordinary citizens. These parallel stories of blue-collar builders taking a stand in the Lake District while political elites indulge in luxury reveal much about modern Britain's divides. They highlight the growing disconnect between decision-makers and the communities they're supposed to serve, and raise fundamental questions about who really shapes the country's future. The Islamic Centre developers now face an uphill battle. They're having to look further afield for suppliers, offering premium rates to secure materials from companies located more than 200 miles away. Each week of delay adds thousands to the project costs, and the funding situation is becoming increasingly precarious. If the boycott holds and the project ultimately fails, it could set a powerful precedent for community resistance across Britain. This story goes far beyond one building project in one picturesque region. It touches on fundamental questions that Britain is grappling with nationwide. How much say should local communities really have in developments that permanently change their areas? When does legitimate concern about preserving local character cross into unacceptable resistance to change? And in an era of globalization and rapid demographic shifts, who ultimately gets to decide what Britain looks like in the 21st century? The builders of the Lake District may not have issued any manifestos or given any speeches, but their silent protest speaks volumes. In an age of corporate power and political correctness, these ordinary working men have shown that sometimes the most powerful resistance comes not from shouting the loudest, but from simply refusing to participate. Their stand has ignited a national conversation that will likely continue long after the final fate of the Islamic Centre is decided. As Britain continues to evolve and change at a rapid pace, conflicts like this one will probably become more common. The Lake District builders' quiet revolt may come to be seen as a turning point, the moment when ordinary Brits found a new way to push back against changes they feel are being imposed without their genuine consent. Whether you view their actions as heroic or problematic, one thing is certain: in today's Britain, you underestimate the power of quiet determination at your peril. The story continues to develop, with new suppliers being secured at premium prices and political pressure growing on both sides. One thing is clear: this is about much more than just a building project. It's about identity, community, and who gets to shape the Britain of tomorrow. The quiet men of Cumbria have shown that sometimes the most powerful protests don't need banners or slogans, just the courage to say no. As Wordsworth once wrote of these same lakes, "The world is too much with us." Today, his words take on new meaning. The quiet men of Cumbria have reminded Britain that real change doesn't always come through petitions or politicians. Sometimes it comes when ordinary people simply say no and mean it. What do you think? Should communities have veto power over major developments? Is the builder's stand heroic or discriminatory? And most importantly, whose Britain is it anyway? Drop your thoughts below, and if you believe local voices should matter, hit like and subscribe for more uncensored reporting. This is just the beginning.